Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and another Escape from Tarkov video, of course, because you clicked on it, you know that. This is going to be a first take, a first appearance, a first opinion on patch 13.5, if you will. Got a little over a week of game time in now. Pretty much got through most everything, so I can talk about what it is and what's good, what's bad, everything in between, let you guys know what's going on. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer video because there's a lot to talk about, but we'll put chapters down below. So let's not waste any more time and get into the middle of it. So one of the very first things you're going to realize is the quality of life changes, especially when it comes to the trader UI. These things are completely overhauled. And guys like me that have lots of hours, there's a lot of muscle memory to overcome with how we move around, still backing out, moving between traders on this screen like this. Just habit. But you don't have to do that anymore. You can just click from the traders. You got your buy sell screen. So if you're trying to sell stuff, you're not constantly moving around. If you're trying to get to your tasks, you can just click from trader to trader, all on the task menu. So you can accept tasks and check on them. It's great. It's a really good change. It's going to be one that just takes a little while for me to get used to, but I have no complaints about it. I'm super happy with how it functions and that they went the route that they did. In addition to this, we got presets for our kits, which is pretty much, you know, just kits. You can come in here and save your kits if you want. You do that by clicking on the little save button, and it'll save whatever you're wearing as a kit. There is no light way to put it together. You have to have the items put together, which I guess is kind of a downside, but there's no way to like play around and create them like you can in the weapon modification screen with presets there. But nonetheless, you can save it. If you go to load it, it'll tell you what you do have, what you don't have, what it needs to buy. All of those sorts of good things. So it'll make getting kits put together quicker, especially you could just save things with like a rig with your meds in it where you want it or however, your pockets. And then you don't have to go through that laborious process of one item at a time. You just click one button and it loads it in. Then you can pick your armory, backpack, whatever else you want. Just be mindful that it does grab stuff in your secure container as well. So if you have a sick case, it's going to grab keys and it's not going to discriminate. So if you have like a found and raid key and a non-found and raid key, make sure you always double check on that when you use your preset, because you don't want to go into raid with a found and raid key that might be worth a bunch or you need for a task or something. When you have a non-found and raid version of it that you've been using, just keep an eye out on that. In addition with that, we got the kit drop down stuff, which is probably even a bigger thing that I like even more, is the ability to just put stuff on by clicking on it. You don't have to go hunting through your inventory to find it. It's just click, boom, it goes right on your character, and that's it. And it works for backpacks, rigs, not for your pockets. I guess technically your secure container, if you had multiple of those, melees, all of that stuff. Anywhere you see a drop down, you have it. There's also this alternate little menu here that gives you a list versus a picture of it, so that you can see just the names if that's how you want to go about going through looking at it. And then lastly, for quality of life that I'm going to talk about is Hideout. As you can see, as you're crafting, you get these little green progress bars. When it's complete, it's solid green. On top of that, when the craft is complete, it's automatically at the top, so you don't have to hunt through your entire med station or workbench to find the one that's done. Once you click get, it'll move. Like if I have it hearted, so it's at the top, but if once you click get the item, it'll move it back to wherever it was at. With that, we also got the weapon rack, which is a new addition, or weapon stand, and I've got level 2. We'll get level 3 once we get mechanic 4. It's just basically free space. Once you get in here, it's like kind of having like extra weapon cases or whatever. You can't interact with them. They're kind of stuck here until you move them in and out, but other than that, it's not too big of a deal. I think it's a great addition. More space. It's kind of a cool way to show off guns that like maybe you got a scav boss gun or something you want to hang out, rogue gun, whatever it might be. You can put it up here and kind of display it and have it out of your inventory and not just eating up space. Maybe in the future we'll get one for some armor, so you could put like Killa's kit up on the wall to show that you got Killa. I think that would be kind of cool. Now on top of this, I'm pretty sure we got loot turned up, or at least not turned down. BSG normally cranks the loot way down at the start of the wipe to slow down progression, I think is why they do it. And we don't seem to have gotten that this time. There just seems to be loot everywhere. People were finding LEDXs and graphics cards and all sorts of crazy stuff on the first day. So it seems like either because it's going to be a shorter wipe, because we know there's another one in December, according to Nikita anyways, that they just left it turned up and things are going crazy. People seem to be happier with it, though the economy is moving much faster, I'm seeing, which good or bad, it's neither. It's just a statement of fact. The economy is maturing faster than it normally does as far as people having money and stuff like that. So kind of where we're at with that. It's also a product of the crates, I think, the random loot crates, which I wasn't super excited about. I wasn't sure about to begin with. When they talked about it, I was worried how they were going to do it, but I think they did it right, because not only did they randomize them, they by their own words, they made it more crates. So you might not get a crate in one room that's normally got one, but usually if you go 2 or 3 rooms over or somewhere in the same building, there's a room that has like 4 of them stacked in there. So there's more crates around, there's more loot in those. There is a bug with some of them, especially I've noticed with like the larger wooden crates, the really big ones like the tech crates and stuff like that, that if there's one that spawns that wasn't there before, a lot of times it's just empty. And it's not because it got looted, because I know I'm the first one there. There's no scavs around. It just spawned empty. And I think that's just something they got to work through. It's probably just a bug. So we'll see what comes of that. But I do enjoy it. Opening up a random room that's never had loot in it, and you see 3 duffel bags all of a sudden, it's pretty cool. I think it's done a lot to make the game more interesting and encourage exploring rather than just running to very focused one spot, get the loot, then get out. And that's the only loop that there is. Quick note on servers. They've been stable. I know people have had issues. There's long queue times with scavs. The only way to seem to get around that is by being in a squad, which is, it's weird, but it works, because when I'm squatting with somebody, I never have any issues. It's like 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes to get into a raid, usually a lot less. But if I'm solo, I'll wait 10 minutes to get it. If I try to go to like a lighthouse or a streets or something, even in an off time of the night, it's like 10 minutes to get in, which I think that's just something BSG needs to look at and address. I don't know yet. It is getting worse. It's always bad at the start of the wipe, but it's lasting longer than it normally does, especially the severity of it. So we'll see if it gets better over here over the next week or 2. But right now, yes, it is tough. The next one we'll talk about is the Streets expansion, and it was the one that I was the most excited about, and they didn't let down, at least in my opinion. Now, while the actual footprint of the map probably didn't quite double, maybe it's a 40% increase in total footprint on the map. They definitely, I think, more than doubled the size of the map based on places that got unlocked and opened up that weren't before. So for example, the theater, I ran like 5 raids and didn't realize the theater was a space now. The whole cinema has a bunch of room in there. Ended up fighting, like 5 teams showed up. It was weird. It was this crazy PvP fight. It was a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me of old school Rainbow Six, just the way you moved around the map and how it went. It was fun, but new place to explore there. You've got the whole new areas up here that are all pretty much open. There's a bunch of apartments. This whole area down here, kind of the apartments and the school, and there's just so much space. And then like this whole area that was closed off is open now with banks. Lexos looks completely different. South of Concordia, this whole area, a lot of people haven't realized this whole area is opened up now, and there's a bunch of stuff back in here. And then you got the crash site in this courtyard and some more buildings on this side. I haven't got through everything yet. It seems like every time I go into Streets, I'm finding a new room or a new place to explore that wasn't there before. So a lot of new stuff to look at on Streets. So just explore at your will. It's great for scavs if you can get in, just to run around and check. I've spent 40 minutes as a scav just running around Streets exploring, because there's that much new stuff around. Now, the next big change is probably one of the most impactful ones on the gameplay that I've seen so far, and that is the changes they made to ammo. So first off, on the workbench, they removed the craft for BP and changed it to PP, which is 7.62 by 39 PP ammo, which is kind of a mid-tier. It's still pretty good ammo, but it's mid-tier, so you can't craft BP anymore. Here's that PP craft right there. It's the same craft as the BP, it's just not there. And then they removed 300 blackout AP, and now you craft the CBJ craft right here. Basically the same craft, just different ammo. These are both purchasable. The PP is on proper level 3, I don't believe behind a task, and CBJ is on skier level 3. Also, I don't believe behind a task. So purchasable ammo, pretty good. I don't have much else to say about it yet. I haven't run it a ton. I've run both of them a little bit. They are getting through stuff, but it's early wipe, and they're both over 40 pens, so it goes through class 4. Now, they did make BP purchasable again. I'm not a fan of this. I don't think they should have done this, but whatever. You got to complete Intimidator, which is a high level task. I believe you got to be level 45, and you got to kill 40 scavs with headshots. So basically what they did is they made probably one of the best ammos in the game only available to purchase by top end players who don't really need it. That's my opinion on it. Again, I don't like this change. Doesn't mean it matters. That's my opinion on it. The only people that are going to be able to buy this are the streamers and the people who play a lot of Tarkov, because level 45 is hard to get to. Most of the players in a wipe don't get there. I would say within probably 2 months, you're going to start seeing tons of BP around, simply because you're going to be able to buy quite a bit of it on every reset of proper. In addition, they locked M61 is no longer immediately craftable. I don't have it right now. I have level 3 workbench, but you have to get Shooterborn in Heaven done, and that'll unlock the M61 craft for you. So that's just another hurdle. You won't be seeing lots of M61 for a while. We didn't last wipe really either, but it'll be just that much harder to get to, so it's that much more rare. The next huge change was the changes to the MP7 and the P90 subsonic ammos. Those were basically quasi-meta, not just because of their recoil, but they were pretty good pen and damage. They nuked the penetration on both of them. So for the 4.6, which is the is the MP7 ammo, subsonic now only has 23 pen, which I believe it had 30. It was like 36 or something. I can't remember exactly. So it's a pretty significant nerf to subsonic as far as penetration. And the same thing with the 193 on the P90. It was 30 something pen, and now it's down into 27. For the MP7, they added JSPSX, which kind of fills that gap now at 32 pen. This is a new ammo they added. You find it around. It is purchasable from Mechanic Loyalty level 2, and it's 32 pen, so it's kind of that middle of the road ammo right below FMJ. And they didn't need to add anything for the P90 because it already had 191, which essentially fills that same role as JSP does on the MP7 for the subsonic ammos. They also changed flechettes, which I'm really happy about. Flechette is no longer craftable. They changed the craft to the Piranha. Piranha is baby flechette. We'll look at the stats, essentially, but it's the same thing. It's not a slug. This is a flechette round. It's a little, what does it say? 12-inch round contains dozens of razor-sharp steel tacks that blast out at high velocity, which virtually guarantees that there will be no response from a perpetrator. These are kind of the funny ammos that people make in the United States. I don't know about other countries. You'll go into some gun shops and there'll be these goofy ammos like Dragon's Breath, and this is one of them. I've seen it before. I don't know if it was called Piranha, but I've seen the tack stuff before. Needless to say, it's 24 pen versus 31 pen of flechette. It does do more damage. It's 10 by 25 versus 8 by 25. So just a little bit more damage on the overall, but it can't chew through armor like the flechette can. As you can see by this little chart here, flechette still dominates. You can still buy it. Flechette is still purchasable, so it's not gone. You're able to get it. You just have to get forest clearing done with loyalty level 3 and loyalty level 3 Jaeger, and then you can buy your flechettes again. But it's not craftable. So I think this is a good change, a balancing change I didn't expect, but I was happy to see. And then lastly, we'll talk about the 54R rounds, because there's a couple interesting things here. They added a bunch of 7.62 by 54R, which is the Mosin ammo or the SVT ammo, and now the SVT AVT and the PKMs. So we almost doubled the number of ammos we had here. So they added HPBT and SPBT, which these are basically hunting rounds. It's hollow point bolt tail, soft point bolt tail, and then they added FMJ. So all of these rounds are lower end rounds, but the soft point boat tail is a very interesting round at 27 pen and 92 damage. This means that you have a better than 50% chance to one tap somebody in the chest with level 3 armor on or less. If it's less, if it's like level 2, you're probably going to get through and one tap them if they're naked, obviously. So these higher damage flesh rounds have been added to the game. FMJ, they moved LPS up, and FMJ kind of filled the gap at 33 and 84. LPS is still too, I think, especially now with the AVT and SVT, LPS is too readily available. This is basically M80, and we all know what they've done with M80. M80 is, you got to have level 4 Peacekeeper, and it's hard to craft, and it's hard to get to because of the balancing purposes of it. But it doesn't matter now because you got LPS, and you can put those in AVT, which we'll talk about the new gun in a sec. And it's overpowered. It just simply is. If they change it, I don't know. My opinion on that is it's kind of a problem round right now with how strong LPS is and how easy it is to get to. So with that, we'll move into the new guns. The SVT and AVT are available. The AVT is not, but the SVT is available on level 2 proper. You can buy it, and then like they've got the barter for the scope, but you don't even have to worry about that. You just buy the AVT unless these get cheap for some reason. Just buy the AVT and spend like another 12K to put the scope on it if you want. But level 2 proper, and not only that, you get access to LPS, which is basically M80, better M80 actually. So now you've got a absolutely devastating gun that's cheap, available, ready. This is going to be even worse than people say about the Mosin meta or some of the other things. It already is. You see these everywhere. It's hard to go into a factory raid and not hear them. I've heard labs is full of them now because you just go in with one of these things and you actually just chew through people, especially if you get lucky and find a box of BS, or you can buy BT or some of the other really high pen ammos. Right now, they've already jumped the price up on this. It's now 55,000. It started off in the 30s, then it went to 40s. Now it's 56,000. So I think that's kind of what they're trying to do to get them to be a little bit less prevalent, though it's not going to have much of an impact unless they're a lot more expensive, or they move it to level 3 proper, or make them found and raid, or whatever they do. They're pretty readily available. After that, we got the sawed-off shotgun. You can find it in raid, but it's also available on level 2 Jaeger. It goes in the pistol slot. You can put this in your pistol slot. Show you here real quick just for shits and giggles. It'll go right there, right in the pistol slot, and you can use it. It's a meme gun. It's fun, and it can be effective, but you gotta hit your shots basically. So keep that in mind. It does go there. It is cool, but it's a 2 shots, or 1 if you have the double barrel setup, and that's pretty much it. The AK-12. Let me get into my hideout. I've run I don't know, 6 raids with it or so. I've killed some players with it. It's not very good. It's just not. You're better off just running the RPK than this. There's no upside to using this over the RPK. It has only a couple of attachments. We'll go into the presets here. All you can run is the AK-12 suppressor or the AK-12 muzzle brake, and that's it. There's no other attachments. You've got all your foregrips, and you can put all of the separate stocks on there, but you can't really do anything major as far as modifications to anything else. There's no fancy foregrips. You've got the one foregrip. Let me get to where it's at. That's it. There's no like gas tubes, no dust covers. There's just not a lot of modifications to it, and its stats aren't that great. Again, if you want to use something like this, just use an AK-74N because it's better in my opinion, or an RPK. You can get more mods on it and get it more controllable. So hopefully we'll see changes in the future with it. We'll see. But yeah, it just kind of is a new gun that doesn't have a lot of use. That's my opinion on it for now. Now, as far as the PKM and the RPK, I haven't got either of those yet. We'll work on it. We'll try to get them. They're tough to get, obviously, for good reason. But I don't think that's something that you really do a review on. There's nothing to compare them to. You're shooting a belt fed that shoots Mosin ammo. So yeah. Now, next up is task changes. I'm not going to go through every one of them because some of them, they just kind of moved around the chain of how you get through them, and they changed some of the rewards. But we'll talk about the ones that had changes and how they work, like what you need to do to complete them. First up, we'll talk about is hunting trip. And this is a big one because you used to have to use that meme March tactical scope. You don't anymore. Remington M700 with a full field TAC 30. And you got to kill Sherman with a headshot. That is the only requirements now. So easier in some ways, harder than other, because you got to get kind of close with a TAC 30 to Sherman, which can be hard. But that is a welcome change to a long-standing task that was kind of a meme task. Shooter Born in Heaven, huge change to this that a lot of people in the community are happy with. I don't like the change. That doesn't mean they need to change it. It's just my opinion. I think they made it too easy and too grindy. So the skill level is lower, but the grindiness of it is farther, because now you got to get 5 kills on a bunch of different maps with a bolt action. It's not difficult. It's just grindy. That's my opinion. You can disagree with me. That's fine. They're not going to change it because I don't like it. So it doesn't really matter what I think. Needless to say, that's what it is now. 5 headshots on all of the maps except factory and labs, and it's just got to be with a bolt action. It can be any distance, so you could kill somebody at stick the barrel in their mouth, or you could shoot them at 600, and it's all the same mechanic on this task. They also made it to where it gives you 5 sniper rifle skill now, which is huge. That's a ton, because we'll get into it in a sec here once we get through Tarkov Shooter 8, but it impacts a lot of other stuff in some of the old grindy portions of the game. And with that, it unlocks the magazine case, the craft for M61, and some of the other stuff that you get with that. Tarkov Shooter 8 also changed. You used to have to get 3 kills in a single raid with a bolt action, 3 PMC kills on woods. They made it to where it could be any map, and you just got to get 3 kills without dying. So they did make it easier. It's still got to be with a bolt action, and it's got to be headshots now. So it's a little bit different. You're usually getting those with bolt actions anyways. But yeah, 3 kills without dying, any map. It also adds 3 sniper rifle skills. So now between these 2 skills, you get 8 sniper rifle levels bumped. Now, That's a big deal because Psycho Sniper's 10. So that means you only have to get to level 2. And you're going to get, just doing Tarkov shooter and some of these other tasks, you're going to end up at Sniper level 2 anyways. You have to get to 3 to get through Tarkov shooter part 4, 3 or 4 or whatever it is anyways. So you're going to get there. So you turn those in, it puts you over level 10, which completes Psycho Sniper for you. But you also now have to kill 5 PMC operators without dying with a bolt action rifle. That's a new change to Psycho Sniper to make it a little bit more difficult since they took away the grindiness of the levels, I think. So that's an addition there. Capturing outposts, still not required for Kappa, I don't think, but they changed where the kills are on shoreline. They moved it up to the resort. It used to be down at the dock, which made it impossible to do it. Now it's up at the resort, so you'll be able to get those pretty easy without even trying. Capturing outposts should be a task you can get done passively now, which is pretty cool. I like that. With it being like this, I wouldn't even mind if they put it back as a Kappa requirement, to be honest with you. Test drive part 1, huge change here. This used to be done with a reap. You had to have a reap to do it. No longer required. What you need now is a Schmidt and Bender 1 to 8. It's still 5 PMCs at over 60 meters with an M1A, but that shouldn't be too hard with these setups. So it's much more accessible. It's much cheaper. You don't have to run that 600,000 or 700,000 ruble reap to get this done. And then the last one, I don't know how many people this is going to affect, but I want to bring it up anyways because it's talked about. Stylish one. This is one where you get Killa's track suit. Wow. It used to be 100 kills. Now it's only 50. Still not something I'm going to do. I would rather drag my balls across broken glass than grind Killa on interchange, but that's just me. You might enjoy that kind of thing. You do you. But that's pretty much it. There are other task changes, but again, they're not super important. It's just small changes that don't have a huge impact on how you go about doing the task. Now, the last thing I want to talk about for the patch is the Painkiller changes. It seems like BSG is trying to remove the whole pre-pain, always pained in a match game loop. They've tried doing it by increasing how much hydration it takes, decreasing the effectiveness, all sorts of stuff like that. And none of that had a big enough impact. And they kind of teased us. It's such a BSG thing to do. They got everybody excited because they said they were removing the sharpening effect of painkillers. What they forgot to mention, or not forgot, but intentionally didn't tell us, is they were going to make it to where you couldn't fucking see anything when you're on painkillers. So we went from just shitty looking screens to can't see anything. You can screw around with your post effects and stuff to try to fix it. When you take painkillers now, all the colors wash out and you get this blur effect, almost like you have a broken arm or something, or you're under you're under pain effect, and it just sucks. You can't see anything, so you can't be pained all the time because you'll run right by people and not see them because you lose the contrast. And I think that's what they're after, but I think they went too far. Again, I don't like this change, but it doesn't mean it's a bad one because it has affected how I play. I barely pain pill now. I bring regular pain pills in, which I never did past like my first 10 levels, just so that if I need to cross the street or a big open field, I can pain pill and not get caught out in the open. But I don't have 6 or 7 minutes of not being able to see anything because the pain pills wear off after like 80 seconds or something like that. And I think that change is a good change for the game, as far as that effect of making people not just be like, you'll see a lot of streamers and like Chad players, they just pain pill at the start of the raid and they pain pill through the whole raid. They're always under pain medication with no downside to doing that. So I think that's what BSG is trying to find now, is something to make sure that the pain pill is actually a choice and not just something you always do because you're rich. So this is probably in the right direction. It might be an overshoot, so we'll see what they do to tweak it in the following days, weeks, if anything. I think they're going to, just because overall census is it's a bad change and there's ways to kind of get around it, which are, it's silly, it's unfair, but people do what they want to do, using post FX, turning them on so that you're not affected by the painkillers, and then turning them off. It just seems silly to me. So hopefully BSG finds a system that doesn't yield with outcomes like that, but can still achieve the goal they want of players just not always being pain pilled. But that wraps up the video. I thank you guys for watching. I hope it found it insightful and helpful and let you know what was going on in the patch. Plus, I can use this so I can stop answering questions and stream the same question over and over again. I can just point people to this video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you made it this far, I have to imagine you should have both of those already selected, but maybe not. So quick reminder. Also, quick shout out to my music. Link down in the description. It's on Spotify. It's free. It helps me out. And it's available for content creators to use without the fear of DMCA takedowns or copyright strikes. That's what we made it for, was for the community to use. It is my music. I didn't buy it. I'm giving you permission to do it. The only thing we ask is that you just give us credit down in your description or somewhere on your stream so people know where the music's coming from, and give us credit for it. And that's all we ask, and that's free for you guys to use. But I'm done yabbering there. I'm already tired of talking. So thank you guys for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your raids, and we'll see you in Tarkov.